Devin. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so glad this worked.
I have your book, and it was super sweet the things you sent with it too. So
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
You're
Such a pretty
welcome.
cover.
Thank you. I love the covers for this series. My designer did such a good job.
She really did. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your books and kind of how you started writing, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Leah Dobrinska. I am a romance author. I write contemporary closed door romances and romantic comedies. And then I also write cozy mysteries. So I dabble in both genres.
Love
I
that.
think I have been a writer for my entire life. It's kind of always been my thing. And I kind of knew it was my thing.
I
Math
love
and
that.
science were never strong suits of mine. So yeah, I got to college and didn't really know what I wanted to do other than write. But I didn't get a creative writing major. I actually ended up with an English literature major, and I went to work in content marketing after graduation and didn't really dabble in fiction writing until after we had our first child. So that was
Cool.
like, gosh, over a decade ago now. I started writing just like as a way to stretch my brain creatively in a different way other than being a mom. And yeah, I kind of fell in love with the process of creating these worlds and these stories. And at the time, I was living away. I was not living in the Midwest. So I set my stories in the Midwest because I was kind of craving home.
Right.
And yeah, just kind of went from there. I didn't really stop writing at that point, but I wasn't writing consistently. So it wasn't until 2021 that I got serious about publishing and I published my debut small town contemporary romance.
Oh,
That
that's
one's called Love It on Deck Cafe.
oh, I
This was
love
my
the cover
first book.
too. It's so
Thank you.
beautiful.
Yes,
The
this,
flowers at the top and the cute little
oh,
Main
right.
Street. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh my word.
Thank you. Yeah, this one has a special place in my heart because it was the first my first published book. I think it was like my fifth full-length novel. I wrote a lot before I worked myself up into a position where I felt like I was confident enough to publish. But yeah, I'm an indie author, so I have self-published all of my romances, and then I have had a traditional publishing deal with my cozy mystery series. So I kind of have
Oh.
a foot in both worlds.
Oh wow, so you're a hybrid and author. So I love that. You've done cozy mystery
Hmm.
and also rom-coms.
Hmm.
Or I do you call them rom-coms or are they
I
more
do, yeah. So my first series I label more, they're more contemporary romances, I would say. They definitely have humorous elements, but I didn't set out to write those as romantic comedies. My second romance series, which is the one that I sent you, the
right?
it starts with Friends Don't. These are definitely romantic comedies. I
Ah,
had that intention from the outset. So yeah, this
pretty. Oh,
this book was so much fun to write for that reason.
good. Oh my gosh, I love that. So can you talk before we jump into that book, can you talk a little bit about like being in those two worlds, of like romance and cozy mystery and what it is you love about each of those and two, how they've helped you grow as a writer, you think?
Yeah. Yeah. So people always ask me like, what's easier? Like what, or like what's harder to write? What's easier to write? And
Right.
I love writing in two different genres. It keeps things very fresh for me.
Bet.
So I kind of started out writing what I read. So I always read like, and I watched Hallmark movies. I read contemporary romance. So I was like, well, I
Right.
think I could do this. But at the same time, I feel like I cut my teeth on Nancy Drew books as a kid, and I've always been a huge fan of the mystery genre. So, in the back of my mind, as I'm writing this first contemporary romance series, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, it would be really fun to, again, stretch myself in a different way and just try it, try to see if I could write a mystery.
Love
Uh,
it.
so that is how Death Checked Out, my first mystery came about. It was kind of just like a creative exercise. Didn't really think I would do
Yeah.
anything with it. It was mostly for me.
I love the
Um,
cover too.
and
There's
then, yeah, thank you. And yeah, it just kind of, that series just kind of launched from there. That one features a librarian in a small Northwoods town set on a lake in northern Wisconsin. So it's just very
cool.
cozy. like the definition of cozy as well as being a cozy mystery. But yeah, I've found that the audiences for a small town romance, like that readership usually translates pretty well to the cozy mystery readership, or
Right.
people tend to enjoy both. They have a lot of similar tenets in terms of just like the community feel,
Small
strong.
town sort of feel.
Yes, small town feel. Everybody's kind of up in everybody else's business, but you have like a strong, kind of determined female main character typically, and yeah, just kind of characters you can root for. And I love bouncing back and forth.
Oh,
I find that when I get tired of writing one or stuck with one, then I usually know it's time to write another book in the opposite genre.
yeah, I love both of those genres too. They're so much fun to read. And
Yes.
I write rom-coms, and I
Yeah.
also my first love was fantasy. So I
Mm.
haven't written anything in fantasy yet or published anything in that yet. I'm writing something, but not haven't published it yet.
Super cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been like it would be cool to do a cozy mystery too.
Hmm.
There's something fun about, doing like a whodunit and making it
Yes.
cozy, and because I don't like that gore stuff.
No, that is not
That
my thing either. I always tell people like my mysteries won't give you nightmares. There's
yeah,
none, like none of the explicit or like nasty content is ever
yeah,
featured on the page. So it's always like, yeah, the incident, the murder happens off the page.
yeah,
The cool thing about cozies is that the focus is really on the character and the amateur sleuth and kind of how she uses her smarts and her connections and her friendships
yeah.
to figure how everything kind of
Oh,
unravels.
oh, that's so cool. I just love the idea too of, that sleuth that is an amateur and kind of
Mhm.
just like finding her way into things and figuring it out kind of with good luck.
Yes, totally. Oh, there is a lot of luck involved. Yes,
So
yeah.
when you're coming up with a new story, what do you feel like comes to you first? Like character or is it plot?
That's a really good question. It tends to change for me for every book. Oftentimes, I think what will happen for me is I get the idea for a specific scene in my head. And with the way that my books have kind of developed, I'm usually writing within a series. So I often know that side characters from a previous book are going to be the focus characters in a follow-up story. So I
Yeah.
would say that my characters are kind of like in my brain from the beginning of a series, and then what kind of sparks the idea for each individual book is usually that scene. I there was a specific scene that I was writing to in that first mystery that I was like, I know we're going to end up here. I just have to like write the story to get us there.
Hmm.
Um, it's helpful for me when that like spark scene is later in the book because then I'm writing to something. In one of the most recent romances I wrote, actually the next romance I'll release, my like inspiration scene was the first scene. So I wrote it and I was like, this is like this grand flourish of like creative energy and this is great. And then I wrote the scene and I was like, oh, now I have to keep going. Like what happens next? So it tends to help me when I have the plot sort of figured out in a way toward working toward that
Oh,
scene.
do you feel like so you said, like each of your books are kind of like on a different character set in that same
Hmm.
world.
Hmm.
So for like your rom-coms and also your cozy mysteries, do you feel like that is that the same? So like the first book was on one couple and then the second book was on another couple. Do you feel like the sleuth one that follows the same sleuth?
Yeah, so that's the major difference between the rom-coms and the cozies. So my
Okay.
rom-coms feature a different couple in every book, and the cozy mystery series follows the same amateur sleuth. So she's always the star. It's always her voice. It's always
Cool.
her figuring things out. So it's cool because I have a little bit more of a runway to examine kind of her character arc because it usually translates to follow-up books.
Okay.
So people are always like, "Can I read your mysteries out of order?" And I always say, "Of course you can. The mystery will wrap up and it's self-contained in each book, but I think you
Cool.
get the most out of a cozy mystery series when you start at the beginning because you see the character from the beginning and if we're doing it right as authors, right, she will grow and change and kind of morph in front of the reader's eyes as the series progresses. So, yeah, when setting out to write a cozy mystery series, I always feel like I got to do a really good job of like coming up with a character who I like because I'm going to be spending a lot of time with her.
Right.
And she's going to be interesting. She's got to have some layers that we can kind of peel back as we get going. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, I love that. And so with the so with this book, how many books are going to be in this series, do you think?
Yeah, so I Friends Don't is the first book, and then there are three other books in this series. So it's Friends
Cool.
Don't, and then Enemies Don't, Exes Don't, and Pros Don't are the three follow-up books. So
I
this
love it.
series was actually completed with the publication of Pros Don't. This one just came out in April.
Oh, fun.
And the first three books were sisters, so the three main female characters were sisters, and then this guy, Holland, he popped up again and he was actually in the first book. So I kind of brought it full circle.
Yeah.
So this one is complete. However, I love this world so, so much. And I find that that happens. I'm like, I don't want to let it go. I don't want to
Right.
give up on this. But my next romance series is actually like a spin-off of these. So
Oh,
the
cool.
football
So same
player in the
world.
third book. Yeah, same sort of world. So I'm writing the series of his teammates. So
How
it'll be the
fun.
River Foxes football series. And they're located in Green Bay, which is just a stone's throw away from Cashmere Cove, which is where I set all of the don't books, is what people.
I love it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is so much fun. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you basically have this world set up then where you can kind of like keep adding to it continually.
definitely.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, and especially I've set all of my series thus far in
I
Wisconsin.
love
So
that. Yeah.
they tell you to write what you know, right? So I was like, well, I tend to do better if I have been to a place or know of a place very like intimately that I can pull from like real world stuff to make the setting believable and make people want to visit. But
I
I have had a lot of fun just like tossing out references from a previous series as there's a Christmas tree farm in a series and I'm like, oh, maybe this character will visit that Christmas tree farm. And it's those
fun.
are fun little Easter eggs for longtime readers, which is
Right.
I enjoy it as an author. And then it's always super fun when a reader is like, oh my gosh, I caught your reference to this in this book. And it's kind of like we're all in on our own little created world here in books.
I love that. And so too, then like when the reader's reading it, they can be like, "Oh my gosh, such and such from that other book," or
Yes.
get excited about like they're almost visiting an old friend, right?
That is my hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always just trying to bring people a little bit of joy with these books. So I want it to feel like they're settling back in with a group of people who they know really
Oh,
well, who they like to spend
yeah.
time with.
That is awesome. And I love too that you said it's set in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a beautiful state. I'm originally from Minnesota and I live in
Yes.
South Dakota now. But last summer we went to Wisconsin. We went to Door County.
Yes.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful area.
It sure is. Yeah. So the Cashmere Cove, this series, this is like my fictional version of Door County. So
Awesome.
I like
Okay.
that area so much. I had to set a
I
book
love
series
it.
in it.
I
Yeah.
know. It's so beautiful there. So yeah, so you kind of like use that as inspiration for Kashmir Cove.
Hmm.
And so kind of creating your own town because it's
Hmm.
like your own fictional town.
Yep.
What have you found that's really helped you in that and that has been something you've learned about, writing in a small town that doesn't exist, but
Yeah.
you kind of created it.
Yeah. I feel like what helps me is reading. I feel like I read a lot in my genre. I read a lot of small towns, both in mysteries because they're usually set in small towns, and then of course in romances and romantic comedies. So I like to see how other people do it because I feel like my other books in my genre are my craft books. I feel like I can learn more from what other people are doing well than I could by setting out to read a bunch of like how to write books. So yeah, I read a ton. I also think that ever since really getting serious about writing, I feel like my eyes have been opened just like in my own day-to-day life and experiences. I take inspiration from everything. The local fire department has their Monday night, like all their volunteers get together and they do their training and they come down our street and they're like spraying kids with the fire hose. It's like 90 degrees in the summer. And like those are the sorts of things where I'm like, that's the spirit that I want to capture in my small town, my fictional small town, but I feel like a lot of the reality of small town that we all live, those of us who live in small towns, we can, I hope to translate that to
I
the
love
page.
that.
So yeah, the things that I see around the coffee shops that I love to frequent and the interactions of people, I'm trying to capture it all.
I love that. That's wonderful. And so then with your cozy mystery series, that you currently have two books out, right? Or do you have more than that?
The third book came out.
Okay.
When did it come out? Last
Just
in
recently.
December. It
Yeah.
came out. They always come out in December. So yes, this is actually a completed series. So I had a three book deal with my publisher. So people always are like, "Are there going to be more?" And I'm like, "Oh, maybe someday." Like right now, no, but the door is open if
Yeah.
I would ever want to write in this world again. So um,
That's cool. I love
this one was set in the Wisconsin Northwoods. So again, just dabbling in a different part of the state.
it.
But yeah, the next book I'm releasing is the first in a brand new cozy mystery series. It will actually be my first book ever set out of the state of Wisconsin. I set it
Oh,
in a
great.
fictional version of Nashville, Tennessee, and it's like a songwriter sleuth, amateur sleuth. So
I
that has
love
been a whole new world for me, writing outside of my familiarity and my comfort zone here in the Midwest. But
oh,
looking forward to that one, the release of that one too.
oh, that's so much fun. And so what do you feel like so since you're writing out of the state now, Tennessee, did you kind of have to do a lot of research for that?
A ton of research. Yes, I I was on a lot of like travel Nashville websites and like doing a lot of as I was drafting a lot of those like virtual tours that they have and just trying to read everything I could. I spoke to a contact actually who's in the music industry, which was wonderful because I wanted somebody on the inside. I am not a songwriter or an artist in Nashville. But he is, and he was so generous with his time and was able
Oh,
to answer
cool.
my questions. And yeah, getting to do some of that research, that's one of my favorite parts, just to
That's
try to make it realistic enough. Obviously, what I like about Cozy Mysteries too is I'm not writing like a hardcore police procedural where I feel like I have to have everything
Oh,
perfect exactly how it is. I can take some creative
yeah.
liberties. But I hope to write them in a way that doesn't like trip readers up when they're like, well, this would never happen. Or
Right.
would a songwriter solve a mystery? We all have to suspend our disbelief a little bit, but I think I'm trying to write it in a way that people can just like turn the page through it and really enjoy and get lost in the story
Yeah.
with
So
reading.
then if your two main characters from this book were to go
Mhm.
on a road trip, where would they go?
Oh, that is a great question. I would say they would go to the beach. So there's a scene in Friends Don't where they have kind of like their own little hidden beach that for the locals. It's not known to the tourists, but they're like my little summer lovebirds, and I think that they would do well headed to maybe someplace like the Florida Keys or Hawaii or someplace where they could just relax on the beach and spend some quality time together by the
Very
water.
cool. That's awesome. And then what treats and snacks would they bring with them? I'm asking everyone these questions, so it's kind of a fun
Ooh,
one.
I like this question. I have to think now about how I characterized them in the book. Um, so Poppy is the main female character, and she's
Mhm.
like this ball of sunshine. And Mac is the grump that plays her opposite. So she would probably be eating all of the sweets and the little like special treats. I'm thinking like they would for sure have their coffee, their iced coffees. That's their thing.
I saw that
And
on the back cover. I think that's
yes,
coffee, right?
in the truck bed, yes, we had to include that because that comes up. So they would for sure they would have their iced coffees, And then she would probably be trying to get him to eat like Skittles and things that are not great for him and telling him to live a little bit. And he would be telling her that his at-home dance workout videos would all be for nothing if he started
That's
just
funny.
eating all the junk food all the time. Yeah.
Love that. Oh my goodness. That's great. And then, so if you were to go on a road trip, what book, if you could pick one book that you could bring with you, that's something that you kind of go back to, maybe a favorite cozy mystery or cozy romance or whatever,
Yeah.
what is
Gosh.
it?
There's
That's
so
hard.
many. It's so hard to choose. Okay, I am gonna go with my all-time favorite, which is Pride and Prejudice,
Yes.
which is not a contemporary romance or a cozy mystery, but
That's totally
I feel
fine.
like it's the standard for me for all the things.
Yeah.
So it is my all-time favorite book for sure, and I
Wonderful.
feel like I could reread it over and over again. So I think I would have to bring that one because I know
Right?
I won't get sick of it.
There you go. Oh my gosh, I love that answer. That's wonderful. Cool. And so, since we're on a road trip in Wisconsin right now, if you were to encourage people if they've never been to Wisconsin or if they're planning a trip, where would you say that people should definitely check out in your state?
How much time do I have? No, okay, so I feel like you got to go to Door County.
Yeah.
It's like our own little version of Nantucket, I feel like, tucked away here in Wisconsin. So Door County for sure. I am partial to Madison, our state capital. I went to school at UW-Madison there, so lived in Madison for 4 years. It is the coolest town. There is so much to do. Check out the farmers market on Saturday mornings right on Capitol Square. It's Madison, our campus is on an isthmus, so there's lakes on either side. It's gorgeous. Hit up a Badger football game when you're there and just be surrounded by really, really great people, really great thinkers. And then if you're into sports, you got to come up to Green Bay and head to a Green Bay Packers football game.
Yeah.
Probably on your way up north and check out the Northwoods because there's nothing like spending a summer in a cabin up north, grilling brats and hot dogs and hamburgers and playing yard games. You really can't go wrong. Just do the tour of the whole state, wind back up in Milwaukee
Oh,
on Lake Michigan there, and you'll hit it all.
I love that answer. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great. And then do you have any recommendations for really great um coffee in Wisconsin that's very Wisconsin that isn't like Starbucks or like that?
Yeah, there I love my little local coffee shop, but now I'm blanking on the actual like where they get their coffee beans. But if you're in my neck of the woods, you should come to Wildfire Coffee or Seth's Coffee. Those are my two favorite local spots. My brother would tell you to come to Coffee Wizards, which is another one right down here in Northeast Wisconsin. So yeah, we have a lot of good local coffee options. We're never thirsty.
Oh, that's great, right? That's the best way to have it. Where can
Yeah.
people find you and your books, Leah?
Absolutely. So all of my books are available in paperback across retailers. So anywhere you buy your books online, you can find every one of my books. My Fall in Love series, which is the Friends Don't books, these are available on Kindle Unlimited as well. So you can get them on for free through Kindle Unlimited if
Yep.
you read through that platform. And my other books, my first series is available wide. So ebooks are available everywhere online, audiobooks as well. And same for my Cozy Mystery series. So you can find the ebook, paperback, or audio of those wherever you read or listen to books online. If you're in Wisconsin, you can find a lot of my books at the local Barnes and Noble
Cool.
stores. And yeah, I love to connect with readers. So my website is leahdobrinska.com. There's a contact page there that will shoot straight to my inbox. Otherwise, I am pretty active on Instagram, and my handle is at what Leah
So
wrote.
much fun. So thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
me, and I can't wait to get follow you along on your journey more and
thank
read your
you.
books. And I'm planning on doing some reviews too, so like
Perfect.
video reviews too, and it'll be super fun.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much again for having me. And yeah,
Absolutely.
just be in touch if there's anything you need from my end.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you so
Cool.
much, Leah, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for riding shotgun on the Romance Reading Road Trip. I'm so excited for you to be joining this journey with us. Be sure to go down to the video description below and sign up for the passport. You're not going to want to miss out on it.